bisa jadi puluhan ribu atau ratusan ribu US dollar gitu. Jadi ya istilahnya ada yang sudah sampai kayak gitu. Jadi karena kan istilahnya memang kalau enkripsi itu ya namanya enkripsi dia private key public key, kalau nggak punya kalau nggak punya private key-nya ya belum ada gitu. Tapi memang ada beberapa family ransomware yang sudah berhasil dibuka. Jadi kalau misalnya itu dicek dulu. Dan itu saya pun juga baru beberapa melihat case-case-nya aja sih. Ada berapa, family ransomware ini ada yang sudah bisa, ada ransomware yang belum bisa. Jadi mesti dipastikan lagi.
Kalau begitu mungkin setelah ini bisa bantu saya. Saya ada data, ada personal data
Gitu.
yang sudah terenkripsi.
Nah,
kalau penting sekali mau di
itu kalau
dari
saya
2023. Mungkin sudah ada mungkin ada peneliti
kalau mesti paling nama ransomware-nya aja Bu, nanti coba kita lihat kan ada data-data kayak gitu juga, bisa lihat di internet juga sih. Nanti saya mesti pastikan dulu yang kalau yang saat ini saya ketahui sih lebih dari keluarganya dan lebih ke istilah cara penanganannya gitu. Penanganannya artinya dia itu bisa masuk dari cara dia masuknya bagaimana, cara mendeteksinya itu sih lebih ke kayak pencegahannya aja. Teman kalau sudah kejadian ya memang ya itu sih memang ada satu yang nanti mesti kita lihat lagi.
Berarti masih sangat menakutkan ya ransomware itu ya?
Masih dan itu istilahnya jadi sekarang organisasi lebih berpikir lebih baik saya bikin pencegahannya aja. Pencegahannya artinya di setiap tempat istilahnya desktop organization tuh misalnya dibikin yang namanya segmentasi network segmentation, artinya bukan satu LAN besar karena LAN besar itu membuat ransomware ini bergerak lateral movement maksudnya dalam satu subnet ada komputer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ini IP address-nya 192, 168, 1, 2, 1, 3 dia kan ke kiri kanan gitu. Tapi kalau misalnya kita bisa pencegahannya setidaknya ketika satu kena dia nggak langsung kena ke segmen-segmen yang lain, memperkecil ininya aja. Dan kalau solusinya lagi kita biasanya mau mulai masuk ke eranya bukan lagi antivirus tapi istilahnya nama industrinya sih, nama itunya kan lebih ke EDR, Extended Detection and Response. Ya itu sebenarnya antivirus juga tapi dia ada agent dan manajernya. Kalau versi open source-nya ada namanya wazuh tulisannya. Itu kita punya agent, kita ada manajernya dan manajernya ini kita konfigur rule-nya untuk mendeteksi kalau ada penambahan file di lokasi ini seperti ini, maka dia itu harus lakukan adalah segera delete filenya. Ada contoh-contoh kayak gitu sih. Jadi ada beberapa cara-cara untuk menangani secara di level organisasinya saya harus lakukan begini untuk memperkecil resiko. Jadi kalau tadi kan ada threat, ada vulnerabilities, caranya diperkecil seperti itu.
Oke, soalnya kan selama ini kan yang dibahas di workshop itu selalu yang untuk protection, maintenance, dan backup.
Iya.
Yang ditekankan cuma itu tapi
iya betul.
Solusi yang kalau datanya sudah
kalau sudah kena itu sudah memang sih masih istilahnya kalau dibilang 50-50 ya 50 misalnya kalau kita punya kemampuan bayarnya atau tidak. Kalau punya kemampuan bayarnya pun masih 50-50. Kalau nggak punya kemampuannya ya ada beberapa family itu yang bisa dilihat apakah dia ini ada family ini ternyata sudah bisa ada cara pembukanya. Tapi itu memang masih mesti dilihat dari ada sih berapa orang-orang yang jadi pengamat security itu yang mendalami itu gitu. Jadi itu ada jadi topik sendiri.
Berarti setelah ini nanti bisa saya hard disknya besok ya.
Ya dilihat namanya dulu aja Bu. Kalau saya nggak bukan jaminan saya bisa ini sih.
Oke, ya. Makasih.
Ya saya makasih. Silakan Pak Ibu. Yang bertanya dapat kaos kaki. Silakan. Silakan ada lagi.
Ya, terima kasih. Selamat siang semuanya. Thank you, sir. I have 3 questions here.
Okay.
Number 1, do you have experience that someone hacked your web or your data? That's number 1. And number 2, if yes, how do you solve it?
Okay.
And the last one, number 3, what kind of tools that you use to detect and prevent?
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Try to speak in English. Tantang bahasa Inggris. So There was a time I was the system administration for, it was 2004, like 20 years ago. I was volunteering for the Indonesia General Election Committee. They have a website, and apparently there's someone just hacked the website using the technique called SQL injection. It was very like long time ago, because I only happen as the one who doesn't create the website at the first time. But what happened after that, we do like the what people right now refers as the forensic, digital forensics. So there's now the term like DFIR, digital forensic, and incident response. Yes, it's a term for that. It's actually the term is like to make sure that after there's an event happening, you don't do thing with that hard drive, with that data, because it become evidence of someone entering your network. You need to keep that. And also, what hackers do if they breach the system, they try to delete all the logs, because they try to cover their way of entering your system. What you want to do is you try to shut down the system and take out the hard drive and stay as it is. Try to call the digital forensic to the assessment of your data. But if you are protecting your system, there are quite a lot of tools to do. For example, if you have a website, you can use like an extension of the web server. Where you have a web server, you have some modules of extension modules. For example, in Apache, there's a module called mod security. You can search that. It allows you, it gives you protection for the usual attacks. There are people who try to categorize this in the organization called OWASP or WASP. They have like a top 10 attacks that regularly try to the web server, and the tools like mod security allows you to create like application-based firewall for your web server. So they will block the regular attack. They block the regular SQL injection technique for that. But you need to configure that. So to make sure that your web server works normally after you install those. And also, if you are if you like expensive things like web application firewall, you can just put an F5 load balancer on it and install the application firewall modules on it. So basically, before traffic enters your web server, it enters the firewall first, and the attack is blocked. Right now, most of the firewall can block basic application attack, but you need to configure it, you need to understand it, and to make sure that the legitimate traffic can works, not blocked, because usually people configure it, usually put it as a default setting, thinking it's like a magic firewall, you can make the traffic work. No, you need to configure it first, and to make sure legitimate traffic can works flawlessly. But you need to make sure that the attack, basic attack, cannot go into the system. That's the thing that maybe answer your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
Saya kali.
Pak, mari Pak, silakan. Oh iya Pak, silakan dapatkan kaos kaki etnik. Silakan
Okay,
Pak.
thank you.
Oke.
Obrigado, Barak. How
Yeah.
kuliah tunde kole sira balu haten English traduz tambah how English mas. Ungranga hela bahasa mas ungranga hela. Maybe how hatorit be Tetundate, colher cerebral traduz.
So,
Hau ne pergunta makni. Sa segurança ne bem maka ita usa hodi metin liu assegura itenia dados. Ne pergunta. Depois durante a experiência ne bem maka ami hetan he base. Ne hau conta itu. Tambah ansane. Quando ema halo atacação ba itenia dados e data center. Enter parte NOG data center ho cria website ne dun malu. Tambah segurança bahira ema hack.
Sorry Pak, maaf Pak, bisa bukan bahasa Inggris Pak atau? Ya, translate. Oke, thank you.
Bahira ema hack yang segurança usi NOG mak lameti.
Oke.
Lalu sekali. Depois usi parte NOG dun mai ami data center yang be data center mak segurança lameti. Depois parte selu dan ida cria website ne mak dihan header lameti, password lameti. Ne carig bele, colega sira bele explica ho inglês para mau bele explicar claro. Carig segurança ida nebe mak dia glu. Ia parte no ka data center ka ida íamos incluímos ida halo website ne. Obrigado bar.
Tell your name and from which organization.
Bernardine Jesus from DNIC MTC.
Okay, thank you. Ya Pak.
Yes, the question is, there is between two department from NOC and the data center.
Oke.
NOC center. They are still confusing about when the attacks comes. They are still confusing, and some of them they blame each other. And the NOC blame to.
Yes, it's
the
managing blame is one of the things that we use.
Correct.
to do.
The first question is, what kind of the security, the good security implementation to secure our data in the NOC and in our data center?
Okay. I try to answer. And actually, for our organization, that's why they when you don't. The thing your organization needs to do is to create a separation on each networking level, right? Because our basic organization usually has like a campus network, usually the LANs, connectivity to end user. And that connectivity will go to the core switch, and usually will be located at the networking center, like the NOC. NOC usually manage between the connectivity between organization and the outside, like internet, and you usually manage the connectivity to the inside to campus, so like building like this. You have a building like this. You have 1, 2, 3 building. It connected to the NOC, and NOC also connect the all of the network to the internet. The data center usually only connected to the NOC. Usually the concentration is like to store the data and protect the data only. For NOC, usually the part of security is to make sure that the connectivity, that only the legitimate traffic comes to the NOC and connect to the data center. That's the responsibility. So for each type of the network, you need a different type of security treatment. For example, in NOC, usually you have like a firewall. Usually you will install the firewall. That the rules itself is like to protect the connectivity between inside network, the network inside organization to the outside, and also to protect the connectivity from outside to the data center. But the data center itself, the responsibility, if they have the firewalls, is to protect, configure the firewall that only protect the resources. They can be the rules that could be a very detailed rules for each services, for each server, to secure the data center. But the NOC firewall usually only used to make sure that the connectivity from outside can be connected to inside, but inside cannot. We can create rules for each organization responsibility. So that's why So that's why this like you cannot prevent that. Well, there will be something to blame each other. That's why in my organization, I used to be in the university. We have also like blame someone when there's something happen. You have application developer, they develop application. You've also a system administration who install the application on the server, manage the operating system, manage the security, and then also the network administration. That's usually me. What I do is usually I will create a dashboard of the network performance, all of the network equipment. I try to create a graph on it, to get a trend on it. All of the lights are green. So when everything happen, oh, network is slow, and I give you the dashboard. No, network is not slow. Your application is slow because everything is working fine. So that's why in each organization, they after you try to build security posture on for your each like NOC, they have their security posture to configure firewall and the rules. For data center, you configure firewall and the rules. And also, you also need to develop the dashboard for your performance. So to make sure that when anything's happen, okay, this is not a problem. Usually for network, usually create dashboard on the router bandwidth, router CPU. For the NOC, for the system administration, they create dashboard for each server. Each server, they have a CPU, their memory, their bandwidth, to make sure that, okay, and if everything is you want to take blame to each other, okay, let's see the dashboard first. And at that time, we will say, okay, we can see the issue. Okay, not a problem in the network, not a problem in the server. Usually server complain, application complain, my server is slow. You put too much memory, but not enough memory. But you see the graph, it actually the memory utilization is like 40–50%. It's not like 100%, right? So there should be a problem with the application. So they will you will ask them, okay, you do your investigation, try to troubleshoot the problem. That's how I used to manage those things, to make sure that, okay, we can create our security posture and create a dashboard to solve the problem.
Thank you.
That's a good way of doing that. But in regards to the data protection, there's a couple of issues that you need to be aware of. So that's looking at the technical solution, creating a dashboard and monitoring what is known traffic and how it should be. But as an organization, for the non-technical people, you need to do what's called data classification. How important is that data? Why have you got that data? And do you really need that data? So classify the data and then determine whether you need to store it. If you don't need to store it, you shouldn't have that. And that's a big push at the moment in Australia, where organisations are looking at the existing data they've got and they're saying, do we really need this? And they're deleting it or archiving it. Then there's the other process of looking at the data in transit, the data at rest, and then the data in use. So in most cases, when it's in transit, you want to make sure it's encrypted so people can't eavesdrop or steal that data. So we use technology like TLS, transport layer security, or some form of encryption, or tunnels, or something like that. When it's at rest, and this is where some applications fail, is they don't encrypt the data. So it means that if I'm the person that gets to that data, and I'm able to take a copy of that data, I don't need to do any work to view it. So that's a problem there. However, more and more databases are doing some sort of encryption or protection on the data. So now the next target is the data in use. So there are tools now that will read your memory of your servers and pull out the data that way. So how are you going to do that? So you then need to look at other business logic. Can you do some sort of one-way encryption and just use it for validation? And that comes back to your data classification. If it's not needed to be known what the output is, you could ask a question of the user. So for example, passwords is a good example of when it's in memory, it should be not decrypted, it should be still encrypted when it's in use. It just needs to know your password matches what I've got a copy of. Okay. And then finally you use your firewall rules to stop that and detect.
And that's the thing about encryption in for data at rest, because like a malware is form of encryption, but it's not good for us because we need to do encryption for our own data. For example, in the latest Windows or Mac OS, is usually a drive is already encrypted. So basically, if you use Windows, BitLocker, and also in Mac OS, there's also called file vault. Basically, if you take out the hard drive for my laptop and try to read it to other Mac OS laptop, you need to have my password, my passkey to open it, because if you don't have it, then you cannot open the data. It's encrypted. That's other thing I can tell you about encryption. Okay, anything
Thank
else?
you, Avan and Warren.
Okay.
Bernardino, Itaya.
Satu lagi.
Okay, saya tanggal. Okay.
Ya, Pak, satu
Last
lagi.
question,
Okay, last question. Three. Okay.
Saya pakai bahasa Indonesia.
Silakan, Pak.
Ya.
Silakan.
Pertanyaan saya yang pertama,
Silakan.
tentang Kali Linux. Saya sama teman saya pernah coba karena kita belajar penetration test. Jadi kita pernah buat tes di menggunakan tools Kali Linux. Kita dapat hasilnya. Pertanyaan saya, apakah lewat Kali Linux itu hasilnya sudah akurat atau belum? Kalau belum, apakah ada saran lain untuk pakai tools yang lebih akurat lagi, biar kita fokusnya belajar di tools itu aja?
Oh, ini sih kalau setahu saya, Kali Linux itu dia kumpulan seluruh security tools yang populer. Jadi istilahnya kalau security tools mau dicari salah satu bisa aja, tapi caranya lama. Satu download misalnya Metasploit framework ini, atau download Nessus, atau download apalagi. Nah, kalau sudah jadi satu gitu kan, kita dapat file kalau kita virtualisasi pakai OVA-nya aja, dibuka udah langsung jalan, paling tinggal di set, di enable aja kan gitu. Jadi kalau sebenarnya sih kalau bilang akurat sih ya akurat sebenarnya. Kalau misalnya dikatakan kalau dipakai untuk production ya bisa aja sebenarnya, karena itu tools yang sama gitu. Dan dia memang sama aja, jadi bisa dipakai untuk kita lakukan penetration test ya, pakai Kali Linux juga bisa gitu.
Okay,
Bukan istilahnya ada tools lain yang lebih advance atau apa, enggak. Setahu saya sih udah enggak, orang udah istilahnya di situ ada semua dan di situ dioptimasi situ aja.
Terima kasih,
Ya.
Pak. Terus yang kedua lagi.
Kedua.
Yang untuk BitLocker, kita pernah dapat masalah, contohnya BitLocker itu pernah di-encrypt sama IT yang lain, tapi dia udah resign atau pindah. Jadi kita tidak ada passcode-nya. Bagaimana kita apa ada cara lain untuk membuka BitLocker tanpa menggunakan passcode yang
Tahu saya secara umum sih mesti nggak bisa dibuka secara umum, karena dia istilahnya enkripsi yang dia private key itu dia disimpan di istilahnya. Kenapa kalau laptop Windows 11 dia bilang dia harus support TPM. TPM itu karena dia dipakai untuk menyimpan misalnya private dan public key untuk enkripsi hard disk di situ. Jadi ketika misalnya hard disk dicabut dan BitLocker tuh nggak ada, kita nggak punya paskinya, ya memang kita nggak akan buka. Jadi mirip kayak seperti kita nggak bisa buka password BIOS gitu lah. Itu sama. Jadi kesulitannya ya memang dia didesain untuk itu, didesain untuk data tuh nggak bisa dipindah-pindahkan kecuali kita ini. Yang jadi repot memang kalau tadi orang IT security yang pasang tiba-tiba udah nggak ada, atau ya itu memang satu ini sendiri sih. Tahu saya itu. Satu lagi katanya.
Okay, it's done.
Oh, sudah.
So we have to continue our session.
Oke.
Kita continua lá itanya sesaun, sela itanya material lá outro, pues itanya perguntas raihela, pues sesaun tu irmã ita bele atau fali. Obrigado.
Oke, Pak. Terima kasih. Oke.
You can always ask us questions in the break.
Yes, so ita bele Hatoy minha perguntas na sesaun break na imibele ba diretamente husu perguntas basira. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, shall we continue to the threat and countermeasure to CIA? It's not that the CIA that you used to know. Okay, where is it? Oh, we talk about CIA. It's a CIA triangle or triad. It's usually based. We talk about in the security training to talk about these three things that are important. The first is the confidentiality. Try to prevent other people to accessing data to make sure your data stay secret. It's like what is the secret data? For example, you talk about the payrolls. You talk about a user and password. You don't want someone to know. Okay, this the payroll of the organization. Someone who's get paid. How many? Someone paid how many? It's like a password. You don't want people to get access to it. Or you don't want to get all the people to get access to it. Only certain type of people. And second one is the integrity, meaning the data accurate and complete. Data is not broken. It's not cannot be read. Or third one is availability. Means it's availability when needed. For example, you can get access to data, but what happen if something happened to your data center? Maybe God forbid your server is on fire. Someone get loose to access your data, but maybe the data is regularly backup to the tape backup. So what you need to do in meantime, the data is cannot be accessed, but it can still be recovered by using some process. If you have the backup, but backup usually have like a problem of when the last backup conducted, or when what is the data being backed up. Okay, or maybe some data is backup, some data is not. That's the thing we will discuss. And also there are things like non-repudiation is a small extension of the CIA triad. And it's what I just said earlier. It's talking about either sender or receiver cannot deny that the message was sent or received. You cannot deny that. Oh, I didn't send the message. No, you just did, because we recorded. And the final one is a safety. It's a critical component to ensure, because right now we're talking about industry that not only talking about data information security. We move to other industries such like in factory and manufacture, in like we're talking about the smart car, connected cars, because right now in Indonesia you can buy the cars like the EV, electric vehicle cars, and it's already connected. So basically you use a smartphone and suddenly you know maybe you have a car in your house, you go to the office, your wife use the cars, and you check your phone and you know which car is in the location of your car get taken by your wife, and it's already connected. So what happened if God forbid someone get access to hack the cars, get access to car stop, you just move it, or the car moving, you stop it. It's like a very, very not safety. You can be, someone could get killed. And also for safety right now, I have a friend in Indonesia who like working in an industry to protect the factory which have the process control machinery, because right now process control machinery, maybe you know as the PLC running on the SCADA network, is right now is already connected to the internet, and it causes a problem in some part of the world. In the Eastern Europe, in Russia, someone can hack the network of the electrical company, and shut down the electric company in the winter. You can imagine, winter in the Russia, in the temperature of like minus 30, 40 degrees, you should shut down the power. It's like crazy. And the first thing is the first evolution, it come in like the 2010, when hacker from the NSA, US and Israel tried to hack the process control of the nuclear enrichment facilities in Iran. They hacked the system to drive the system slower or faster, making the system can go broke and then go blow up. So that's what happened in the security world right now. But thankfully, we're still working as information security. It's like the only cause a problem is maybe you get the data breach, but it's not near in the future. The security for this technology for the security will be also applied to the things like will affect the safety. Okay, so we talk about the common attack against CIA confidentiality. We talk about a data breach. Right now, it's, for example, the password data get taken. They get copied from the information provider and put it on the dark web for people to see. And that's what happened when you do that. And the data is going to put on the have I been owned. It's like to tell you that to check whether your data is that website. If there, you need to change your password. Also for the integrity attack, it's like talking about the website defacement, things that try to change the data, try to corrupt the data. And for availability, we're talking about making the system goes offline. Talking about the DDoS, like the largest internet DDoS is like the one was facing by the Cloudflare. They're talking about terabyte per second data. Like how many terabyte per second data? Or
so Microsoft's just had an attack. It was 500 terabytes per second.
500 terabytes from how many corner of the internet?
I don't know how much the traffic was. I just read it briefly, I think yesterday or the day before.
Yes, it's like very, very large. Only a certain company which has lots of pop in the internet could watch and could experience, because if your organization get DDoS by that capacity, then your part of your ISP already dead, because most of the ISP don't have that much bandwidth. So it makes your site becomes your site cannot be accessed. So it can be what DDoS can happen. It can be with accessing the last thing, there is a result. They want to fill up your network with many kind of things. That doesn't really matter what type of traffic. Just put some garbage traffic to your network. So it can also affect your bandwidth and can also affect your router, because usually your router is not going to able to handle lots of traffic at the same time, because when you purchase a router, usually there's a number of capacity. Capacity usually the number of the sum of the port number, the port capacity of your router. But if you goes at the same time with the very, very lots of small packets, usually will consume up your CPU until 99%, 100%. You cannot even access your router. You put the console cable, you try to log in, and you can even, your typing is not going to the screen. The only way for you to do is to shut down power off the router and turn it off again. But well, it's happened. It's not only on the router, it's only enabled on the server. So usually the target is the server, usually exhausting bandwidth or the connection tables. So basically this is the capacity of the server, the operating system. Usually when you try to put a server and publish it as a to the public internet. They have a public IP. Usually you configure it to handle the number of the connection. But after you adjust it, usually this number will going to be maxed out, and then it will consume your CPU and will consume your memory, and your server just like goes, okay, this cannot take it anymore. The server is not responsive. I just need to turn it off, and make sure that and nobody can access that server. So it's like this is also DDoS or a specific type of traffic can also be sign of someone try to put a specific crafted packet to exploit the vulnerabilities. So if you're talking about like a system like a Kali Linux, this one of their modules or libraries is like they have a collection of the specially crafted packet to send to the server to exploit their vulnerabilities. So we talk about the countermeasure. We are assuming a remote attacker. What is the scenarios like a malicious insider, accident, force of nature? So this is the thing we need to defend for our organization according to the CIA. We talk about have we implement the access control, they implement the encryption as Warren just talked about it, and also for the integrity, we're talking about the hashing, encryption, and digital signature to make sure that unauthorized party cannot change your information or data. And also for the availability, we talk about redundancy, we talk about configuring your network into high availability. Oh, sorry. We're talking about resources and backup, or even on the, like usually the first one in here is financial sector. They usually configure their system in the dual configuration, and they have dual data center on the disaster recovery. And they even in the financial industry or like a banks, like in 1 year they conduct like 3 or 4 times training for the disaster recovery. So like they simulate what happened if their data in the primary data center goes down, how they are going to move to the data backup data center and try to restore all of the information that they have, because when the system of a bank goes down, you're talking about loss of the millions of US dollar. So that's what they do. Usually this one we also do for the as a network administrator. Usually, if for important system, usually you don't put your one router, one firewall, one core switch. Usually you have double on it. You have 2 core switch, you have 2 firewalls, 2 router, and you configure the high availability scenarios. Like when one router goes down, the other router just take over the traffic. But you need to configure it in some ways, so to make sure that when it happens, it already can run with the degraded components. So this we talk about another talk on about the attacks on a different layer. So we can see that the target for the attack, it could be network infrastructure. We talk about the router, we talk about switches, talk about firewalls, or we talk about network services. We talk about the critical services like DNS services. Even someone has to make a shirt on the Yaiku based on it was DNS, because most of the problem of the internet comes from the outage of the DNS. So DNS outage means it basically like you don't need a cable cut or router power off to disconnect to the internet. Just turn off DNS. Basically your internet is gone, right? So it's a critical services. For the organization, also critical services, what is it? DHCP. Your organization depend on DHCP. If your DHCP server just go down, you found out that all of people just screaming, oh, I didn't get internet. Why? Because I didn't get an IP. Right? It's just the same as important as the network infrastructure. The third one is the application services. You talk about the web server. You talk about the web server. You configure. It's not you configure as HTTP anymore. You configure as HTTPS. You configure certificate on it. But what happened is when the certificate is expired, you talk about it's more important for you to make sure to register your certificate so it's not expired. So the end user machine. It's also important, but do you know like the last year, the Microsoft Windows machine all around the world with the Falcon CrowdStrike agent installed on it, it causing outage all around the world because the software conflicted with the Windows updates. So basically makes the computer cannot be started. Just same effect like you cannot start it because when the BitLocker code goes different. It's just same attack. You cannot get access to your computer. But what happened is your computer is computer in the banks, in the airport, in the many important sector in US and Europe. It happens. So
that's actually a good example of where older technology saved the day. So if you had a newer Windows 10, Windows 11 machine, what happened was that there was a particular file called a dynamic linked library, and DLL, it had an issue with the Windows kernel because CrowdStrike gets installed into a security layer. So if you think about the layers of defense in your Microsoft operating system, this is probably getting a bit too technical, but you've got the ring 0, ring negative, and ring 1, 2, 3. Anything in the positive, the higher that number is less trusted. So ring 0 is the operating system and it trusts. A lot of the endpoint device protection is in the ring 0 or negative 1. That means it loads before the rest of the kernel. With CrowdStrike, that caused issues because the kernel didn't trust it and said, nah, bang, blue screen. Whereas the older systems, it didn't support that sort of processing and strict requirements, and so they were happy to get the updates and not do anything.
Yes, that's right. There's quite a different case compared to the other. Okay, so we talk about this. Okay, thank you. Let's take a drink. Let's take a drink first. Okay, this is like we talk about in security. The playing field is not fair. Why? Because we are a defender. Usually the name one was blue team. We defender, we need to defend all of the things. With the attacker, only to score a goal, one goal. You become like a goalkeeper, like in the soccer, football. You're talking about the goalkeeper. But the attacker is like it's like they want to score a goal, one goal in minute 89. Goal 1-0. All of the defenses is like meaningless, right? This is like uneven field.
That's a good example, that one. How many of you have heard the term blue team, red team, purple team?
Red team, blue team.
So red team is where you are going to be, it comes from the military terms, where you're going to be trying to attack, get into the system or whatever. Blue team is trying to defend that objective. And so it could be, in this case, a network. And a purple team is a combination of both skills and being able to have that. So normally what you have is the attacker doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's malicious, a threat agent like that. It could be someone in your organization acting as the red team. simulating the attack. Whereas blue team, where you're referring to as you're the people defending your network. True?
That's right. That's right. That's right. This is a thing that we need to think about. Okay, I need to think about the network, the configuration, how the protection of the network. I need to configure protection of the server, protection of the data on it. And suddenly the attacker is like one that kakak tadi bilang, one with the Kali Linux desktop, Kali Linux laptop. They to do something. Okay, this is load module Metasploit framework. This is good. Try enter one, and you need to make sure that that attacker laptop cannot access your system. So this is like a thing that I was just told you. You protect the fiber, you protect the DNS server, particular application, you configure the firewall, SMTP, mail server, web server. Even though you protect the power, you protect power. Usually you put some UPS on it. You put a double power distribution unit. You connect to dual electrical system. You do all of those, but in the end, it's a small thing that make access to your network. It's like this analogy of one thing that crusty on the outside, but gooey, small, soft, very soft on the inside. So this you talk about USB sticks, like Warren just said. Also, the common one is when you need access to system, someone will try to take out the USB stick with the data on it, but it's filled with malware. They put it on outside of your office. After you take it, you can take it outside. It's like, hey, what is it? Whoa, there's a USB stick. Wow, that's nice, a free USB stick. And you take out, and you go your workstation, and you put it on your workstation. Suddenly, it will run the malware. Run the malware, you get a free attack, right? Just without using the firewalls. No, you just take out USB stick. Maybe if you like watching the movies like I do, the TV series called Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot, there's a story of a hacker. The interesting is, because the consultant is so good that most of the attack are quite real. You can simulate the attack. So it's a very good example. So what is
Anyone seen this? This looks like a normal USB, doesn't
yes,
it? This is a joke USB. It allows me to do injection attacks on your physical device. So here it has a option to change the capital, so turn your caps lock on and off. It has the option to inject keystrokes, random keystrokes from the keyboard, or wriggle your mouse. On this side, I can change the timing of it, whether it happens every 5, 30 seconds to a minute or something. I can't quite read it there. But this was a simple hardware attack token, whereas a rubber ducky allows me to write the script to do that. You can have a look at this, pass it around, plug it in, have it. Do you trust me?
So that's why you're talking about thing also like spear phishing, talking about the password, you're talking about the ex-employee, is a disgruntled ex-employee, you're talking about the sysadmin who also disgruntled. Yes, a lot of things that we can do. So it's like you cannot use like just use the defense in-depth attack. Assume the attack will come from the outside. No, right now the attack come also from the inside. So we talk about a different layer. If you're familiar with the OSI and TCP/IP models, there's used to be the network layer, internet layer, transport application. This one, is like maybe people will tell the old one, but it's still useful because we talk about the protocols. And the protocol talk about the layer 2, layer 3, 4, 5, and 7. So from each layer, there should be an attack for each layer. So basically, you will try to, okay, what can I do with the layer 2 when I have access to the layer 2 network on the LAN? What attack can I do? You can do ARP spoofing, MAC flooding. You can do ICMP flood and sniffing, but it has to be done in the network once you get the access to the network. But also another attack, then on top of one attack, usually it's like it can be happen more often because you already has access to the application, and also it's open because the firewall, because it's a legitimate traffic. But we will see about that. From a layer 2 attack, as you're familiar, it can be ARP spoofing, MAC flooding, DHCP, and VLAN hopping. Talking about the ARP spoofing, this is they already have a tool for it. So you can basically try to spoof the attack by to spoof the ARP by spoofing the ARP cache on the switch. So if you have the enterprise switch which has the capabilities to prevent this ARP spoofing, that can be prevented. But if you have already like unmanaged switch, it can happen. And also for the MAC flooding, because MAC flooding basically just flood the table on your switch. Your switch basically has the CAM table. What is the CAM table? CAM table is actually the table that allows the switch to know which packet needs to be sent to. For example, if I want to send traffic from this MAC address to other computer in that MAC address, it knows, okay, I just flood the traffic to port 1, like port 2, like port 3. What happens when the table is full is actually you cannot do a lot of things. The switch will stop forwarding. So it is what happens when you have a small cheap switch and the network got slow, and what you're gonna do is you restart the switch.
So there's other attacks. This one's not as popular anymore, but when you were talking about segmentation of your network, so everyone heard of the term VLAN?
VLAN.
Yeah. So using the internet, you can do a search for VLAN hopping. So as a pen tester or ethical hacker, I'm going into an organization and I'm going to listen to the traffic and see what I can see. Then I'm going to say, maybe there's some VLANs here. So I'm going to try doing attacks from the, say, printer network and connect to the other networks. So VLAN hopping.
Okay. I used to, when I was time in my university, when the SH is not popular, when people still using Telnet to communicate with when I was in university, we used to have some FreeBSD Linux box for students to go Telnet into and talk to each other and do things. And what this my friend do, he installed the sniffer on it, installed a TCP dump and sniff all of the traffic. So Telnet basically unsecure, right? Unsecure, so they get the password for their account that inside the network. So you're using the password to go into the other server in a different network. So they install the sniffer and go around. It's like maybe more than half a server in the campus is infected by him. So it happened that the student it being reported to the dean, and the faculty just say, if you do this again, you are fired. So he doesn't do it again. But afterwards, he go get a job, become security practitioner. Right now, he's a security researcher in the US. I don't know, good one. But this is what usually what happened. And also, I just say the DHCP. Just say that because it's also important DHCP attack, because it consumes all of your IP address, but you don't use it. So DHCP is like it cannot give you another IP. And also the rogue DHCP server. Have you ever tried to install a false DHCP on your network? And what happened? So people who are joining the network will connect to that false DHCP server. They cannot get access to anywhere. So if you don't have a specific switch, a network specific switch that can prevent this attack, all you gotta do is go to the server room, go to the switch room, and go take out one cable, see if this DHCP is still working or not. Or still working, you put it you put it back together, back again. You take out another one. Oh, okay, still working. Or put it back again. You do that like how many times until you found the server that accidentally becomes a DHCP server. It's not great. I tell you that because I have tried that. Also, in the network wireless is a man-in-the-middle attack. If you can watch in the YouTube, there's a serial called Silicon Valley. In what season? There's an episode when they try to hack the wireless using the device called the Pineapple. The Pineapple basically access point with a large antenna on it, and it used to broadcast a fake SSID that the same as the target, to make sure that the people want to connect to that fake access point, and they will fed with the phishing pages to give their data. This attack are quite common, but you can see it. So what happened usually in a venue, maybe if there's a big venue, there was a conference, people who need to register via the certain website, they get pushed by this equipment. They put it in very space, that confined space, so people don't know if there's any access points on it. So and the people who are unsuspecting, they will fill their data to the fake access point and fake server. This is the old one, WEP, because we are using a WPA2. This is the one for the link layer defenses. This is the feature that usually an enterprise switch have, because they have dynamic ARP inspection, they have DHCP snooping, and after you configure it to shoot your network become more secure for this link layer attack. Talking about port security, limit number of MAC per port. For example, the secure switch usually have the feature for the limit the number of MAC address that come out from one port. For example, if you also activate the authentication 802.1x, it allows you to authenticate your desktop to the radio server, and after that you are allowed one MAC address to access the switch. But if you configure it differently, then you can like use the hub unmanaged switch to access the network after one MAC is already authenticated. So it add another MAC, 2, 3, 4 MACs. One like they were tailgating the access to one desktop that already connected. So this one, that's what I was talking about. This the most secure way to connect to the desktop, to the Ethernet. It also can be done with the Wi-Fi, but usually quite complicated, because it's talking about the certificate that needs to be installed on the desktop, configured on the switch, and you need to have a server, a radio server on it with a certificate. This like the authentication that they are doing to get the access to the port. Okay, so for the layer 3 attack, latency attack, it talk about network as a whole. We talk about the ICMP flood. This is the one to send the ICMP request, and suddenly the traffic will be sent to the victim. So this way you need to disable directed broadcast, and also a lot of routing protocol attack, malicious routing injection, and BGP attack. So like a hijack prefixes and tamper the path information. There's actually a lot of activities being done to make sure this attack cannot be done again by using an effort. When you check the effort on the community, name MANRS, MANRS, mutually agreed. What is it? Mutually agreed. Normal routing security, that's it. So it makes the organization to follow some best practices to protect their network to intentionally not or unintentionally send the wrong information about their routing. Use a lot of technique on it, talking about origin validation, as RPKI and ROA. Doing that, we can give a lot of training for a specific subject. For layer 4 attacks, you talk about the TCP attack. It usually will exploit the vulnerabilities of the server. You can use the SYN flooding. It allows it makes the server has no more resources, the memory, because it's as all of the socket has been used up. So basically, it makes the server. So the defenses is to put the configuration on the Linux server, is to put the configuration of the SYN cookies. It allows that each connection can be stored a node state for have connection, open connection in memory. So for application attack, so as you can see in that previous example, that the most of the attack on the link layer, network layer, and transport layer is not as much as this application layer attack, because right now people just want to play in the application level, because it was like most of the network is already protected, so people will try to attack in the application layer. And what are they going to do? So this is the one that I was like talking about earlier, is about the OWASP, because this is the common attack. There are top 10 common attack you can see on the website. So it talk about scripting vulnerabilities, cookies poisoning, buffer overflow, parameter tampering, cross-site scripting, and SQL injection. And what's the defense? The defense are the user input validation, because this is like the one way the developer or application needs to do, because they need to put some validate the input, otherwise the attack will be happen. You cannot prevent it if you don't have proper protection in application level. So this you want to try whether your application can be protected. You need to be pen test or vulnerability scan. You need some like the most common VA application. Like what is it, Nessus, I guess. But try to assess your application whether it has vulnerability, and also some organization that has a secure initiative allows at least before if there is lots of application, before that application goes public, there are a party, whether it's in an organization or outside organization, is try to do the VA vulnerability assessment, vulnerability scan of your application, and they will tell you, okay, your application needs to be configuration needs to be this, your port needs to be closed, you need to be doing this, this application has the version that's vulnerable. They will give you the list of your VA result, and you need to make sure that and next time they do VA, you will meet their requirement to allow that, okay, this application is secure enough, at least as verified by other parties. About the layer 7 DDoS attack, there are application called the Are You Dead Yet and LOIC. There's a DDoS attack in layer 7. And also the defense is, it's like we talk about the load balancer. If you have a very important server, you usually don't put it on the one VM or one server. You maybe need to put it on 2 or 3 VM, and you put the load balancer on it. Load balancer is actually a web server that allows you to receive the traffic from the user, and by some algorithm and decide, okay, this one server will serve the request. If another traffic comes, and he will say, okay, server 1 is serve traffic, okay, I give it to server 2, server 3, and it's like 3 or 4 server usually per application. What's good of it for application developer, they can make the application, okay, I can do a rolling update. I can shut down one server and the server still operation. But for front-end server, web server, usually that approach can be used, but it will be more difficult for the database server, because database server is like they have their own things, because they need to be synchronized, the data need to be the same at all times. But there are more subject discussion for that. So also we can use the mod security, as I told earlier, because it was WF web application firewall plugin for Apache. You can put it in the front of the web server. You can do this reverse proxy. So basically, if you heard the load balancer, basically it can be used as a reverse proxy, because it allows you for receive traffic on one side and try to forward the traffic to other side. Whether you want to change the header or you want to block the traffic, you can do that. Also about the DNS cache poisoning, because this is the one that allows the DNS cache to be giving you the incorrect information. So the example is this. The usual traffic for the DNS is usually that they will your client get access to the DNS server, usually DNS caching server. They will ask the authoritative server, and the DNS caching will give answer, and so you can get access to the client. To the server, web server itself. But what happened is someone they pretend to be the authoritative zone. They give some cache poisoning. They give some certain type of traffic to the DNS caching. So otherwise, the DNS caching giving you the wrong information about the web server that they want to attack. They want to redirect the traffic. So it's also quite happening a lot, and some of even the newest DNS server version also happen to have this attack, and I still think of you try to keep updated about that information to make sure that attack doesn't happen.
So just to show you, just to expand on that, so when we look at protocols, when they're designed for a particular reason. So a couple of these attacks are just exploiting what the protocol has been designed to do. So with the TCP IP protocol, it has the three-way handshake to do the communication. As part of that three-way handshake, it's trying to start the communication. So it's like me saying, hello, you're going, hello, how are you? And I'm going to go, good. and then we start our conversation. But what is happening with the three-way handshake, the SYN attack, is it's saying hello, and so I respond with hello, how are you? But the protocol says you need to keep trying because transmission control protocol is going to be a connection orientated. So if packet hasn't been received and there's no acknowledgement, let's send it again. So that uses resources. With DNS, this is actually built to match the query to the person that asked that question. And so that's why we've got that number there, QID, query ID. Now the protocol was designed to, in a way, figure out a unique ID for each query, and there's millions of queries per second. Based on that, if I watch the traffic, I can guess what the next QID could be. And so as the attacker, that's how I do the injection. And that's why you see in the red there, the guess of trying to get the correct query ID. And if I'm able to get that correct query ID, I now have given your DNS server the IP address of a machine that I control as the malicious attacker. Now, your caching server will store that information because once it knows how to get somewhere, it's not going to query for a new update until that expires. And that's exploiting the DNS protocol to poison your network. I can then use this to basically do a man-in-the-middle attack or present a web server that you think is, say, meta, when in reality it's not.
That's right. It's like this one type of attack that people that happen on the internet, because like some people usually don't configure this DNS often and maintain it often, so this attack can happen. So it was defense type of defense is like when you use the DNSSEC is to protect the records or RSAT is signed with the private key. So basically, if you send this your domain protect with DNSSEC, if you give a wrong, it's coming from the wrong authoritative, then they will block the request because it's not coming from the real DNS. Okay, so this what happened if we have the DNSSEC configure, because it's for example, we have the apnic.net. The resolver will ask the root server about the dot. They will give to the answer with RSIC and the DS, and we ask again to the .NET TLD and give you the answer for the authoritative of the apnic.net with the resources of RSIC and DNS key with the signed answer. So the answer to the client will be secure, and someone cannot prevent, cannot be pretend to, okay, this apnic.net. No, it's the real apnic.net. Also for amplification attack, this one type of the DDoS, and there are some vulnerabilities, especially on the DNS and NTP, that can be used to do the amplification attack, especially for the NTP, I guess. Also for the source ID.
So the quickest way to show the amplification attack, can I get you in Windows, go to your command prompt. CMD or PowerShell's fine, either one will work. Type in nslookup space www, the three W's.apnic.net.
In the same time.
So nslookup www.apnic.net.
Apnic.
So this is doing a DNS query to find out the IP address of www.apnic.net. NS, as in name server look up. NS for November Sierra.
Nggak pakai titik Pak itu Pak. Ini nggak ada titik. Hapus. Nah spasi aja. NS lookup spasi itu. Apnic.net. Titik apnic. Apnic. AP sorry. Sorry apnic itu. T N. Nah, titik net. Nah, enter.
So if you've been able to, I don't have control of the computer to do it, but you could do a dig.
Okay.
But NS lookup, so NS is N for November, S for Sierra, L for Lima, O for Oscar, O for Oscar, K for Kilo, U for Uniform, F for Foxtrot. Oh, sorry, P for Papa, not F for Foxtrot. P for Papa, and then www.apnic.net. What this is doing is asking the name server to resolve that. And what you'll get is probably 10 lines of information coming back. So for about 20 characters that I've sent over to the internet, I'm now getting over 100 characters coming back. And so we're using the dig command, so you won't be able, oh, it did work, NS lookup. Oh, well done. So we've got NS lookup, see how it's returned information there, but dig is the Linux version of that. And what that is, I'm going to do as a malicious person is I'm saying I'm actually coming from the victim's machine's IP address, and so the DNS responds to that victim. And so I've sent 10 characters or 20 characters to the DNS server, but I'm getting 100 characters sent to the victim machine. And I would use a zombie or tribe of botnets to be able to then say, okay, I've got 1 million machines, let's all do DNS query, but send the response to the victim machine. And with the dig command, you get even more information back. And so what will happen is that the victim machine's going to receive that and go, hold on, why am I receiving this? What should I do with it? And not know what to do with it. But it basically is sending so much traffic that the legitimate traffic is not able to get through anymore. Think about peak hour outside when you're trying to drive from here to go home. The more traffic that's on the road, the longer it takes and it's slower. That sort of thing is what we're trying to do, is use up that bandwidth. That's amplification.
So I have a question about the last night. The Cloudflare have like down, yeah, almost like 2 or 3 hours. So this is possible in the Apnic to like have redundancy to the Akamai. This is possible to put the Akamai also in the CDN, in the Apnic.
So that's different again, what happened with Cloudflare. It wasn't a DDoS attack against them, but yes, there is discussion about being able to have redundancy in place for your CDNs. And so it's not as simple because yes, Cloudflare has options where you can do what's called a fail safe to go to another CDN, but if their internal systems were broken like they were last night, it didn't alert those other systems to then be able to fail over to the other CDNs. So that's why that wouldn't work there. But yes, when it comes to DDoS attacks, there are mechanisms where you're able to then change your routing path to other options. So that way, all the legitimate traffic will go to a DDoS scrubber, which is different again. So this is where you need to announce some of your prefixes via this DDoS scrubber and you move your traffic to that. Sorry, I just thought that's the quickest way of explaining what an amplification attack is. And different protocols give you better results.
Okay, so I guess only a more like a 5 more slide, so we can have the coffee break, I guess, after that. Okay, so we talk about the source IP address spoofing. The defense is like I guess we already discussed in the previous slide. To only allows the traffic at failures source address to leave your network. So it's like basically try to tell you, but there's no way traffic with source address is same as your internal traffic comes from you from your outside interface. It just seems cannot possible. So this what you're going to do. For NTP amplification, it usually people who run the NTP server will try to update it, the newer version, even another version of NTP. Some people are already proposing for more secure NTP server. For applicant layer security, for encryption, the most famous one is the HTTPS, so basically the TLS. Like right now, people try to work more to protecting their application with TLS. Everything needs to be using TLS on top of that. For PGP and SMIME, it used to be to protect the email attachment, but right now I don't know, because everyone is using Gmail and Microsoft right now. They taken care of that. So this is basically our last slide. We're talking about the from each different layer, they have their type of attack, but they have also a type of protection on each layer. So basically, this what you're going to do is to try to protect all of them, maybe like one at a time. Try to make sure your network goes better. Need to be protected, and on each layer depend on your what is the most important thing on your organization, using that the matrix risk matrix as we talked about in the previous slide, and to configure your network to protect on different layer. So basically that's my first slide. I guess we can do coffee break, I guess. I don't know. One.
So for the next lab, or the next session, we're going to start a lab. You will need to have Wireshark installed. How many of you have Wireshark? A couple of you do. If you don't have Wireshark, during the break, you need to download Wireshark. So do you want to just open up the link to Wireshark? So on the events page, there is a link to Wireshark. Otherwise, you can just go to wireshark.org/download.html. And depending on your operating system is which version you would download to install, the Windows, the Linux, or the Mac. So thank you for your time for this session. Go get coffee, wake up, stretch your legs, come back. We'll start talking about hands-on activity soon.
I guess the reason for me to get the new laptop. New OS means I guess the new one, the Tahoe. It's
So you want to get to this point where you can open up Wireshark, because we're going to start talking about packet analysis. What traffic is on your network?
Cek. Kolega Sira beleba coffee break. Ida se ia participantes paluma consegue instalar o WhatsApp. O Sira hasuru hela komite para ita bela ajuda malu. Kalau instalar o WhatsApp. Ah, okay. Nemos dia. Semak sira que o WhatsApp bele aproxima komite. Ita bele. Prove.
Dia ita ia pausa be café nian 15 minutos. Depois de pausa café ita sebele ita foto muito que liur. Aproveita tempo locraik nian, molok tambah locraik ni cada vez bangira evento ne hotu ida hambre Laura da ngora. Então ita la consegue essa foto. Nebe bangira break ne hotu sebele ita hotu tu essa foto liur. Molok tamo falimelaran.
Nesse mai. Tamba será uma outra cena tamba baseia a explicação ne beita bot halo iha generalidade receitas ne
iha recomendação os colegas sira ita foto helaran
4 bilhões rota ne benefício socioeconômico ne be la oski bot tebes ne impacto ne be bot tebes. Hau karakter te botira qualquer investimento ne be bot sempre iha risco. Ida labara kita bela lako. Dene maknar investimento. Se ita la coi investe bot, se ita la coi risco ita la precisa investe. Ne jogo. Jogo da la ruma ita bel manan, da la ruma ita bela lako. Também dene maka hanesan timorwa, hanesan representante povo, amita ufiar hotu baita bot sira, e ami fiar ita bot sira, se bele concretiza mehinebe povo sir hotu hakara. Ida neret mesmo cara. Am fona fatem esperança, fona fatem coragem metabotera, serviço ho ia linha da Belos, serviço ho fuan, serviço ho larang kata Timor nita hutuninha. Obrigada, senhora presidente.
Tua irmã, seu deputado Natalino dos Santos.
Sim, obrigado, senhor presidente. Eu a pergunta mais a cara a apreciação de ministérios petróleo e eu quero até parabéns porque ita Timor-Leste ita commitmento, consistência e afirmação política que ataca a cara calacoi mina tem que dar a mais Timor-Leste embora balo pessimista mas ita optimista na fatin que ataca a cara calacoi mina tem que dar a mais Timor-Leste também da nema que o ministério da tenta buka atu hare o insa atu bele desenvolve liliu a capacidade de Timor-Wan sira e ta orgulho ka atak e a negociação ka o ia Timor-Wan mesak idade nurak mai be sira persistência e si consistência na fatin ka atak a cara kala ko mina da mai Timor-Leste também dane governo dane commitmento huri taudu ni previsão ba orçamento na fatin e o insa o parlamento aprova atau afirma itaninha política nebe ita ulu khatete kai rasi kuda taling hakara kalakoi ita ukung rasikan itania kuda taling ita tengki kai também dane maksira tenta na faten Luís Ministério Petróleo embora colega barak dia kata kita gasta osam barakona mas be ita gasta osam ba hari estado dane ita la sura ho gasta marihum barihum mate barai dan defende rai dane e também dane hau a cara aprecia na fati encoraja na fati itabo tira lao baroing na fati e o commitmento ida kata lorong ida mina si tem que dar mais Timor-Leste o não é bela responde vai ter preocupações campo de trabalho que está durante ne Timor-Wan barak saiba karek mina ne dada mais Timor-Leste si loke industri barak ya ne e estamos tem bele sustenta rasi kita nia mina ita la precisa rola mina usi na taun sercelo também dane hau hau ni apreciação vai tabot coragem lá na fatin atu lori processo ne bato finalidade nebe cadoras tem que dar a mais Timor-Leste quando CNRT ou aliado Sira se está na fatin fiel o povo idane. Obrigado, senhor ministro, senhor presidente.
Futura ministra. Tua irmã, senhora deputada Cedelisa Faria dos Santos.
Obrigada, presidente. Boa tarde, no respeito a distintos excelências Sirahoto. Tu relosões ao resisto, né? Tu comenta com a proposta 7483, mas bem eu agradece também a proponente Sira retira tia, mas bem eu quero informar mos baita hoto kata kuai hira halo ami comissão COD, halo audiência e a sala plenária, né? E tem sua excelência ministro onde minha presidente Sira me halo apresentação ainda baami claro tebes halo tan PowerPoint presentation usa tan layar bot ida na ba
E Raula compreende também, deputado Cerbalo, a comissão se rodeia, me pergunta, faz boa tira na bem, mas foto tem uma net. Também, a mim, moçimo, a presentation ida na bem, mas itane sua excelência será apresenta, né? Foto, PowerPoint presentation, né? Mas amigo tu, né? Be hawa cara aprecia de que né? Hawa cara afirma para povo toma catende, kata, o hira a mim halo audiência, né? Informação ser né? Husi parte governo, foto na claro tempo. Obrigada, Barak, presidente. Mas bem, deputado direito. Obrigada. Tua irmã, senhora deputada Olinda Guterres.
Boa tarde, Sua Excelência, senhora Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, senhor Primeiro-Ministro, onde comitiva toma, colegas deputados, Malu Coronel Cira, senhor Ministro do Petróleo. Senhor Ministro, how lá a escola para botar nebe how lá tem. Meto hira matumba tá se ogos Olinda lá tem, lá a escola para dene. Neba amin naran kuala deta na mas late so que mal musita late neba hawa hansa fo a apresentação desse baita bota no serviço tamba cedo ou tarde minane se mehetimor ita hotu hamutu katurune duro na fati senerte bawen para turune 2028 ita bele berusa para minane tem mais timor. Senhor Ministro, buat nebe kualia ne dalam rumah bela los. Osa nebe maka agora aloca baita bota ni fati lato. 70 milhões estamos lato. Nem las gampan. Ami kualia ne hene na funa renderem am laten tur buat neta. Am amne ibu ne maka karena kualia baita bota tur ihawai ne ita bota laos agora ministro ba petróleo. Senhor Primeiro-Ministro Laos, agora o Primeiro-Ministro. E estudante be cristalina natura claro anemos ne Laos foi mas sai ministro. Deve ter você pengalama outro. Toma senhor na hira tutur mane pengalama outro nebe amila lika qual bara. Colega sira quando dar fila fale ser ne proposta ne. Tam hanoi malato. Dalam rumah bana lah sim kargi nem dia akal duke ithal diskusan dia akal darat tiap hal ne dia buat normal ne las buat lah dia kita normal per menos diskusan batu mai se barbar los babu si puse tu barbar los bayar mai to ne ba hana tempo se em saul emna ama ida betul hana oi kualia ida be sana ne emna ama ne la ir respeito liu moral lah ya. Obrigado, senhor presidente. O qual é?
Distintos deputados, proporcionalidade ou em Hawatotiana, qualia Rotona, e a pedido ponto de ordem, deputada Maria Angélica Rangel da Cruz. Fala a favor, mas não faça perguntas.
Muito obrigada, senhora presidente. A togava mal não é normal. Bancada governo tem que gava governo do ni mas bela lori comissão ne naram para tu representa comissão tamba apresentação ne be mag ministro hala audiências pública ne mas a mim sem dúvidas e a mim lá da catene lolos yang kata certeza dem bot ne mai do ni mas bela liga mai gava de mais lori comissão naram tamba comissão ne lo senertere me lara comissão ne composto do partido ne be mag e assento parlamentar mas conhece muito bem ita botsa ne presidente comissão mas tem mais gap sola antang né? Por amor de Deus. Obrigada.
Tua irmã, pedido ponto de ordem, senhor deputado Antoninho Bianco, retira a proposta.
Obrigado. Agora em discussão especialidade né, de liga toca ali para assunto nível da discussão. Ita ba falhando a tu chinere te tomar fale ka kuntu lama na nona tama kuntu nia ne ba falhando na ba chinere te ne ba selo kida. Agora, ita colheita né também mas tu regimento care, presidente tem que travatear. Mas bem pronto, presidente lá botida, tam presidente também será o look para tu kumalo né na Irua né. Agora isso fale mais de agora pronto lá botida agora.
O mamputi castal lurus.
Senhor deputado, Hanessa Ndei, Itaboto está fora da área. Foi comentar uma coisa que caiu na cabeça de alguém. Nem Magdeha, fora da área cobertura, Hanessa Ndei. Nem tu critica cega, se Sami Mawon, ok?
Nebe distintos deputados, senhor primeiro-ministro, senhor ministro do petróleo, foram 6 deputados. O senhor tem...
Presidente, ponto de ordem.
Não. 18 minutos, senhor ministro.
Obrigado, senhor primeiro-ministro. A respeito do senhor presidente do parlamento, composição mesa toma, distintas deputadas Sirahoto, colegas membros do governo, senhores vice-primeiro-ministro Sira, audiência toma, povo do bem Timor-Leste. Dia, com permissão, sua excelência primeiro-ministro, eu tenho que atar que retira até uma proposta cerne, mas vemos usi acto ida retira nerasik bahwa anessa ministro petróleo bahami primeiro agradece tam retira mas vemos parece caric anessa atu quer dizer atu dihandet ba ministério yang ya assuntos rumah que tem certa tal atenção e eu agradece dane portanto amin na fatin le tabot cernia proposta ao mai atu diang kata se proposta na tu bawa ingkar katu diang bele kar retira tia e ami rejeita nessa parte governo rejeita proposta dene mas como itabo tira retira ona ne am contenti mas ne fo ba ami kata ka ponto sira heneba nemos relevante na fati ba Ministério Petróleo honi entidade toma katu taw atenção. Por exemplo, Itabo Tira levanta assuntos balu, conaba a necessidade de estudos ira que a bombarua mais não tem será até que era assim, né? Temi tiana ia generalidade ia mos audiência cerne los duni osan sira nebe ma miusu agora ne parte kikuang belian kikuang ida husi necessidade para projeto nerasik ia futuro né kuliah laos de tiane ia fatimbar am temi dane para que toto atene kata ne hanesamos investimento ida husi parte Timor-Leste nebe necessário e how explicamos ia ne ona kata que investimento ida ne sei ikus mai sei lorimos retorno lubukida laos de em forma de osang mas vemos retorno de tabelian social, socioeconômicos, nebe macabo tebes. Então, como em levanta me explica dane, e estudo sira nebe macatu implementa, orbaera hau temi teona katak mais de 70 milhões, ne los duni, na realidade 80 e tal milhões, 85,4 milhões de cálculo da né. A mim halo tena tenderização da parte ida, nema bera mi prova no Conselho Ministro 16 e tal milhões. La clarta a semana hira coi mai am se aprova tan por ser belebato 40 e tal milhões ida. Faz parte, infelizmente, tem que ser necessário. Lá, infelizmente, é processo ida que normal ida. Também os projetos se botam ne fase da fase de selo. Infelizmente, tem que ser investimentos do. Mas vamos bela partilha ne katak. Itahalo ela processo ida ne, mas discussões ho Woodside nebe mahane mos parceiro Timor-Leste niang ho Sakagas ia Great Sunrise ia parte upstream nia era ia tasilarang ina bania lao hela negociações lao hela ia nível de venture niang liga ho himos preocupação com a ba documentos tolo petróleo mining code PSCs ho nenenia nemos lao hela laos diang parado na lá presidente Gualdinho Kotu kene ni maka lider hela equipa Timor-Leste niang halo negociação ho parte Australia niang para que itaniakarak atu conclui lalais. Conclui lalais. Ya me halo esforço lubuki da ona tinang kotu ka ia encontros intensivos los to ia ponto ida nebe Austrália sira atu basic na eleição maka sira informa Miami kata sir labele continua processo de negociação né tamba dian sira tama ona caretaker mode governo caretaker mode niang mas foi na dau ia duni setembro outubro né mas sira informa filfal Miami ami começa a intensificar filfal na negociação badan ba tanto buat sana lau paralelo e a parte upstream niang Timor Gap mak lidera ho representa lidera negociações sir renova mas ia downstream é kata sir nebe mak corsia liga ho desenvolvimento refinarias petroquímicas no plantel ia na tarbora niane ne proponente principal agora da uknene Timor-Leste liu-se Ministério do Petróleo e Recursos Minerais. Também se ital halo hansane, e ita espera ela website makatu mai di hang siramatu propõe ne, itania México, itania cara, itania plano, itania política cara dara karoras ne bele dok babe bek tandit. Tamba ita companhia ona e tempo naru katak se ita depende basira matu mai né atu desenvolver né sociedade. Então desde início quedas 2007 quedas ita o tiana ita estudos lubukida foi na dau kita trilateralmente ita lutan ida e independentemente negociações na lau Timor-Leste o lius consultação suas primeiro-ministro governo decide katak ita avança na fatin ita nia estudo cerne ho Hanoi ida katak siraha carga lakoi Timor-Leste se continua na fati mas claro balbalo bele levanta pergunta sida diang se laiha desenvolvimento Greta Saras hanusama kimbele desenvolve será plantel engine ia na tarbora então ne válido ne pergunta sida válido mas be itamos lius itani intensifica itani explorações sira selo que arai marang e ikus ne ita hare filfale oportunidade boa tira tu continua na fatin desenvolve bai undang ne be uluk diam sira diam mara ona mas ita identifica kata ki ela reserva balu inawa tau tang ho campo ki kida naran chudits ia espécie kinaba e futuramente mos kelpi ita bela avança da dau kona então quando ita diha ona diang ami atu avança ami desenvolvimento downstream ne hamutu ou sem Greta Sunrise ikus mai nemos bela diang halo sira preocupado então e sira rasik makakara katu agora hamutu fali ho Timor-Leste Ministério atu joint studios renefil fali abel partilha né ami colher lá o primeiro-ministro para sábado da semana da né ami se aprova resolução ainda para ami atu belemos se lupa tutulos ambele asina acordo ida para siramos atu faz parte Wucha trace atu faz parte estudos nerasi que ita agora desenvolve ela né e ne atu dian seda atu dian katak mas que sira sida confirma katak sira aceita ona kadoras ne maiane mas em termos de processo ita bele dian katak dalam bahan ne na kloke makas lutang nebe have senti idane maka ia kotu kusi preocupações sira dian ita gastos né mas infelizmente ao terceira tete ne katak ita precisa de gastos balbalo laos todo e balu telau da continente ne se tang balu tina oi mas laos bo tebe sanessa balu cari antecipa ela tu acontece agora quando ba preocupação orçamentos balu ba recursos humanos niang tu para capacitas recursos humanos ne los ni tina amitau duni senhores deputados sira amitau duni tambah necessidades dunia e política italiana kata kita hakarak atu infelizmente também a indústrias ida que indústrias tipicamente dominado o companhias bobot é mais experiências bobot é mais experiência barak tebes e tem vizinhos nebe tem negocia a sorurasik mos na saúde que bot na saúde que nene e língua sira nebe sira usa naturalmente inglês vemos a mim tahu ya programa balbal ne atumos kapsita itania masira para belamos sira bela kuliah laos de inglês mas vemos português o confiança em tua e ne esforço sira kami hal duni laos único ya ministério ne det mas bem ministério sente e necessidades importantes duni atu bele eleva skill sira conhecimento sira ya língua, mas vemos técnico para que o SIDA bele contribui efetivamente em termos técnicos, mas vemos comunicações e serviços SIDA perante terceira parte SIDA nível SIDA Asuru lor e ne ya tinang rua balung programa serne ulu queda se entre ministro ya queda excelência ministro anterior, ministro Alfredo Ninian, halo teona, mas tina rua ikus nemos a intensifica mi orienta ba áreas específicas balbalo nebe se mos relaciona com necessidades agora com necessidades abambarua e setor idane, setor petróleo ou minerais. Tanto esforço serne kami anoyam tau orçamento serne que o encargo o balo identificar nessa para que propõe ela mas eu agradeço a retira tena agora o encona vai undang o sira seluk antes 2032 será maquitalo nemos a me explicar presidente do que de recordo o kami alo presença mas agora repetir né katak to 2032 potência campo e da rua macabele também produção da daukona ia entre 2027 e 28 né maka jahal kudatasi kik ya também tá costume ter na simu be vai undang bot e tá kuliah da jahal kudatasi kik intuang tane parece ladung exciting ladung halo itu contente mas bem a partir de tena kata ia possibilidade de bot tebes ia produção ia jahal kudatasi nene ia 2027 fim 2027 28 estamos intensificar as discussões do Bukida para ia remaranian ia suai ho Timor Resources ho Timor Gap sira halo helane walaka ami halau dadau kona walaka e parte sul na tarbora nia maito walaka nerasik ba intuan luka nia nemos ia bloco exploração ainda lá ela identifica dadau kona prospect balbalo tina ruatan para sira perfurações portanto esforço ne lá na fatin Chadich nebe basic coin ya bai unda nemos tina oin se hal perfurações ne a parte petróleo nia ia tan exploração do Bukida ia nai halo ela basic vamos mas minerais nemos ita halo esforço do Bukida ita foto na licença mais de bloco mais de 50 e tal e a semana oin ita se halo segunda ronda de licença tenderização ba licença ia Energy and Mining Summit ia nebe ita organiza internacionalmente ia itanerai segunda oi tanto ne esforço sira ita halo ela indicações iniciais ia lautem manganes extensivo em tuang mas vemos ia plano atu halo exploração de semente kaolin ou marmel e ne ita halo hotu liliu kaolin ne ita bele usa baut halo mos brick sira para ikusmai então quando colher de redução de importação sasan sernene ia claro, da Hania, ou seja, que é importante, mas vemos, por exemplo, sesaun sira usi, ba construção, né, quando Itaia na produção local, sira nebema moço e a parte itania liquações minérias niang sernega, itania non embolden non metallic mineral sernena né belemos contribui ba redução necessidade de importação quat barbarak balo ba itania construções sira bobo sira abambarua se acontecer né e para além de alo rendimento alo osan e nunemos contribui ba a criação campo de trabalho ou atividades socioeconômicas e itania sociedade nele. Então, esforço não é italo, mas nesse ao fiar lá os se resolve o tudo preocupações itabo tira nia ihane kata entre agora to 2032 né osan se bota teu satu mai itania cofre. Na realidade ita tem ser o tudo simuidane mas será uma minha cara projeto de esforços e ela dá o que ela para tu contribuir a dar com o rendimento, criação de um campo de trabalho numa sociedade socioeconômicos e a período de agora batou e de bot ne bem te espera o se crete sunrise né então nem macau senti a excelência primeiro-ministro ao bela partilha e a discussões ira que ouvimos né mas a me agradeço tebes banai deputados proponentes ira ne bem macoin retira tiana agradecemos apoio nas nossas apreciações sira nebe manca expressa usi na deputada Sira Hototo, presidente da comissão CD o deputadas sira nebe fo e sira contribui tebes tina hirak nelaram ai programa sira ministério né. Obrigado.
Senhor Presidente, distintos deputados Sira, quando há recursos humanos ba mina ideia boa maca se prepara Sira para depois fofone que ela está simo estrangeiro Sira mai Hanoi e em Brasileiro mas bem nem Sira mas se toma conta nem me aprende a milar o tua aprende a fazer balão Hagune Sira vai serviço mas o conhecimento para bela aprender a lei mas li tinha ser marca tinha objetivo de dentina lima batina hito e fato embalo né agora ser uma carra assim né iremos para e de levar no que até campo de trabalho né ba da serrai ba um sai condutor bebê e área né bem importante para os baita também se for sambar mai e né Ita tem que produz, tem que tal, nessa motiva Timor-Leste para e que os filmais sira uma carra assim. E não é que o objetivo bot Bahia quando Ita tal o samba desenvolvimento de recursos humanos e a área de né, não e que os filmais e a área selecionada. Obrigado.
Distintos deputados, molo aqui a votação e a pedir ponto de ordem, senhora deputada Lídia Norberta.
Obrigada, senhora Presidente. Eu te informo, ela primeiro-ministro. A estrada, a população será até ter uma estrada e é suco googleiro, a tutuma e vila necoto. Ne precisa russo se bela que te orienta ela IGE, tumba para a estrada, né? Também a população será autorização ela de. Obrigada.
Distintos deputados, pedido de esclarecimento responde a Rotona. Nebe se há dúvidas e está o debate em edete da lidatão. Nebe distintos deputados prepara cartão para vota para Ministério do Petróleo e Recursos Minerais. Quem vota a favor, contra, não abstenção. Muito obrigado. Resultado da votação para orçamento do Ministério do Petróleo e Recursos Minerais, também pela IA propostas, a site outro, nem bem montante mantém, nem resultado da votação a favor 42, contra 0, abstenção 23, o de não é orçamento passa. Itahakat kedas ba Ministério tua irmã, senhora secretária, Ministério da Solidariedade Social e Inclusão, por favor.
Obrigada, Presidente. Ministério da Solidariedade Social e da Inclusão. Salário vencimento, $4.303.740. Bens e serviços, $8.058.713. Transferências públicas, $11.751.672. Capital menor, zero. Capital de desenvolvimento, $627.475. Total, $24.741.600. Também a proposta ida, proposta número 73. Ministério da Solidariedade Social e da Inclusão. Programa, Funcionamento e Desenvolvimento Institucional. Dotação inicial, $9.797.358. Saitia, $300.000. Dotação final, $9.497.358. Dotação inicial ao título, $24.741.600. Dotação final do título, $24.441.600. Na FATIM, Ministério da Solidariedade Social e da Inclusão, Programa Inclusão Social. Dotação inicial, $14.944.242. Aumenta a FALITAN, $300.000. Dotação final, $15.244.242. Dotação inicial do título, $24.741.600. Dotação final total, $25.041.600. Os deputados proponentes, Helena Martins, Mariana Bela Sávio, Nurima Ribeiro Alcatiri.
Empurra a proponentes.
Obrigado, tempo. Boa tarde, Presidente, composição da mesa, Sua Excelência Primeiro-Ministro, Vice-Ministro Cira, Roninia, estrutura toma, caros colegas, deputadas, viveres e governos. Primeiro de tudo, a minha torratete com o orçamento vai IMSSI, e hoje é 2025, total 26.188.602. Vai falir o orçamento 2026 e a total 24.741.600. Quer dizer, e a redução vai $1.447.002. Agora vai falir aumenta falir tina né aumenta falir vai salário vencimento também me preocupa. E o livro plano ação anual né o Ministério refere e a página 178 né a minha justificação sumária no Batao categoria funcionários agentes contratados a muito com 90. Agora a meta vai a 2026 aumenta tão contratados 376 pessoas. E de nema que a minha lá necessário também saída quando a minha vai a fiscalização de terreno armazém sir nebe taune e a pessoal nebe serviço em 40, 50, mas bela halo serviço ruma também armazém quase mamuco. No lá necessário aumenta funcionários em vai. Itato poupa o insama ka halo poupança vai ter orçamento. Também nema que a minha russo a senhora ministra bele kari kare basundida ne e itabote halona redução duni deve diacona narankata itabot simo a minha sugestão externa a minha proposta né mesmo que orsida maioria também mesmo que primeiro-ministro quando aceita tínhamos o se parte bancada do governo exige a tuhalo votação macamanda. Então a maioria maca impõe deitona também maca amigos nessa representante do povo liu oposição e a canar toma que tu contribui o insama calu gestão dia o de halo melhoramento do orçamento do Estado União o de menos corrupção, colusão, nepotismo o di la vele haburas korupsão ne iha Timor-Leste. Tawina ne maka mai ita hamutuk husika lalegado dia ba itania teração sirnebe mai katak o sira uluk mai asumi mai be husika la mos buat leme dia ba iha ami sirnebe me tama horazão sirane hau declara katak ami retira proposta número 73. Obrigada, presidente.
Distintos deputados, pedido esclarecimento e a senhora deputada Maria Teresa Guzmão.
Obrigada, senhora presidente.
Quick because we will do the work. Because data is usually consists of the this model. Because think about this: you open the, for example, a YouTube page. You open YouTube.com. You want to watch videos, right? The videos are basically the thing that are being chopped from one big video to very, very little small pieces of data, of video. And that video, it will edit those header. We talk about the transport header, we talk about IP header, we talk about frame header. And after that, that data is sent to the network. Sent to the network, and it reaches the router, and it needs to be okay, what is the IP header? IP header say, okay, I need to forward this frame to other part of the network. Okay, they forward it until reach the destination, so that header is gone, is dissected. No frame header, no IP header, no tramp header, and data. And after you assemble this data, you watch the videos, right? That's what happened. And we will try to skip that because we will introduce you how to capture the packet. Well, actually, capturing packet is essential skill if you are working in the service provider, in the because you want to know which data are coming and going from your network. We have the tools here. The older one is a TCP dump. If you have a Linux or a FreeBSD system, you will have it by default. And other one is the tools like a Wireshark or a T-Shark. It's a tool to capture and analyze packet on network interface, to see security problem, to debug protocol implementation, to learn network protocol internals. So, but it is not like the security tools that will. It works like the IDS intrusion detection system because it only reads packet. it won't alert strange thing. Even the normal thing, strange thing, any exploit, it will still sees the same in the Wireshark. Will only read packet. It doesn't manipulate packet. It doesn't forward the packet. It doesn't deny the packet. Doesn't block. It doesn't transform the packet. It doesn't do anything. So you will see in the you will download the Wireshark. Look for wireshark.org. I hope you already have downloaded. Everyone has already downloaded. After you download it, I'll explain a little bit, because what we're going to do is to capture the packet. This is the one with the blue button, and this is the interface that you're on. And if you are on a laptop, you think about capture you in the interface of Wi-Fi, because if you capture on the different interface, you don't get the result. Choose the interface that is interface of your primary connectivity, that is Wi-Fi for your laptop. And after that, you want to make sure you capture packet and promiscuous mode. It means that you can capture packet that's not only destined to you only. You can capture packet in capture a packet that even that doesn't direct it to you. You need to configure in Wireshark preference, and this is the dashboard that you will see. This dashboard is a main toolbar. These tools of what we can do is the first one we will start capturing. The red one is we stop capturing, because if you start to capture, you will see the data coming up from that window, packet list pane. There's a packet from time, source IP, destination IP, and the protocol, and the info of the data of the packet. And in the lower one here is the packet bytes pane. This actually was the data of the packet. So if you're talking about the OSI layer or the internet layer, you're talking about it's basically what is you see is the layer of itself, because this one, the Ethernet 2, is actually the data link layer. The internet protocol is a layer 3 or the internet layer. ICMP actually is a transport layer protocol. So that way, if you can see, after you capture the packet, you basically understand, okay, this is the layer what people are talking about. This is the layer that we talking about, because we can see it. So how do you capture a packet? Because you need a capture filter. Because if you don't capture filter, it will accept everything. It will capture everything. So what if I want to capture, like, for example, how do I capture a port that is not 443 and not ARP? You need to use a filter. There's a full web page that tells you how to capture filter. You can get, so the result of your Wireshark will be the packet is only talk about the packet other than 443 and not ARP. So there are also a display filter, because you can see what you can drill down to traffic of interest. This the apply filter. This is a sample.
So can I just interrupt there? There was two types of filters that you can apply. There's the capture filter and display filter. The capture filter means that you're going to not store all the packets. So when you're working on a sensitive network, you would most likely use the capture filter, because you only want to get information about particular protocols or particular devices. However, it means that if you're investigating an incident, you may miss important packets. So if you have the storage and it's not a sensitive network, you should always do a display filter. So capture everything and then display the information later for what you're focusing on, because you can always delete or get rid of the information you don't need, but if you haven't captured it in the first place, then that's a problem.
Okay then, thank you. So we can see this is the example of how we apply the filter. So basically, if you want to see, okay, I want to see this particular IP address, what's the traffic to go to the that IP address or come out from that IP address. Use this filter, ip.addr equal 10.0.0.1, and if you can also capture transaction between two hosts, so you can use this one. And you want to use a filter like to capture either HTTP or DNS. You don't capture any other packet. You want to capture specific ports, TCP port number 4000. You want to capture TCP flag reset. You can capture HTTP requests like application layer protocol. You can capture the RFUs. Usually, if you some specific string, maybe you have some packets that contain this string, and it can exclude a packet of the ARP or ICMP or DNS. I don't want to see that. You want to use this filter. So I guess we can start do the exercise from the. I guess I will show you the PDF. Right.
Can I get you to open up Wireshark and have that open? So when you first open it, you get a window that looks similar to this. Down the bottom section are your interfaces that you have access to. Now, depending on your installation, if you're Windows, it's a lot easier than if it's a Mac, but by default, if you listen to the network for traffic, the operating system only tries to listen to traffic that is destined to your device. So you have to set your Windows or your window, in this case Wireshark, into promiscuous mode to capture all traffic. And for Mac, you have to enable the security for that. Going back to the Wireshark window before we scroll down the PDF, once you know which interface that you want to capture information on, so see the heartbeat on the right hand side, that indicates there's traffic seen on that interface. So let's say we go to the Wi-Fi, click on the fin in the top left hand corner on the toolbar, or double click on it, and it starts capturing the traffic. Can I get you to click on stop so we don't inadvertently capture someone's private traffic? What we do want to do though is go up to edit and then preferences. So it may be a little bit different on edit. It is different. So on a Mac it's a little bit different. On the Windows it's edit preferences, and you go to layout. If you are new to packet captures and you don't understand the protocol, this is where you can modify the layout. So by default you have the data pane up the top, and then you've got more detail about the packet information down the bottom, so the packet details and then the packet bytes themselves. That is the default layout. I tend to like the big layout at the top and then two smaller layouts at the bottom. But what I do is, at the moment where we've got the packet bytes on the right hand side, it may not mean much to you as a new person looking at Wireshark. So I tend to change that to packet diagram. So where it's got pane number 3 on the right hand side, select that packet diagram, click on OK, and then what it's going to do is on the right hand side, if I click on the user datagram protocol, and then scroll down on the particular source port, it's going to highlight where we're looking at in that diagram, similar to what we talked about in the presentation. So if you've got an older version of Wireshark, you may not see that. So it means that you need to update Wireshark. But version 3.5 and above has that capability. Let's flip back to the lab now. So actually, before we get to the lab, you need to download the packet files. So on the Academy, you'll see here that we've got the actual packet analysis resources. If you click on that, that should download a zip file, and inside that zip file are 6, I think, maybe 7 PCAP files. Once they're downloaded, extract that, and that's what we're working through the labs. And so we're going to start with some clear text protocols, and we're going to try and find information inside that. So looking at the telnet protocol, looking at DNS, looking at a chat protocol, and then looking at a actual voice protocol, so SIP, or voice over IP, and seeing if we can get that information that's there. How many people have used Wireshark in the past? Yep. Ask them for help. How many people have done packet capture? So some people may use TCP dump or So once we've got the file down and you've extracted it, go back to the lab guide and it talks you through each one. So there's the FTP and telnet protocols. Based on what I saw in Shadon today, there are lots of MikroTik FTP servers or devices out there still. So that's clear text protocol. We'll see about that using the FTP attack, but first thing we want to do is open up Telnet, I think is our first lab. So if you go to page 1, it talks about how to install Wireshark on the Linux system, and we're going to open up the Telnet protocol. So if we go File, Open, exercise PCAPs, and inside that we want to double click or open up telnet.pcap. And we can start browsing through our packets. Now in this case here, you'll need to just resize the window because we want to look at the status bar at the bottom of the Wireshark window. In this case here, it's not very big. It's only 92 packets. So this is easy to visually go through and look at the packets one at a time to see if there's anything unusual there. But in most cases, you're looking at thousands and hundreds of thousands of packets that could be inside the diagram here. So if we have a look at this, what we want to try and do is to find out information about this telnet session. So for example, can we find the actual details of the username and password that was used to get access to this telnet server? And then what commands did they you go follow, which is the fifth one from the bottom, TCP stream. So if it's using HTTP or it's using some sort of clear text protocol, you can do this simple step of following the TCP stream, and that will then open up another window.
Oh, sorry.
Window.
Sorry.
Yeah, it changes to your main display. Sorry about that. So what this is doing, it's showing both conversations. That is the server and the client machine communicating. So first up, in blue is the server asking for the login. In red is the response from the client machine saying, this is the login. So looking at that window, what is the login? What was the username? Right. And then the server goes, what is your password? Can anyone see what the password is? User. So this is why you should not be using Telnet on your network anymore. If you have Internet of Things devices, IoT devices, you need to think of better security for them. How do you ensure that they're not sending the credentials clear text across the network? I know of some Australian companies still using Telnet in the public internet to access sites remotely. So any traffic that's passing through any resources on the internet can potentially get the credentials for login. Not a good sign. If we scroll down further, we now see the banner information saying what is the operating system of the server and report any bugs. Remembering that the red is going to show the commands that the client typed in. So what was the first command that the person tried to do? Ping. It's trying to check internet connectivity. So this is a sample of a honeypot that we ran where they've seen malicious people connecting to it. So they've used the ping command to see if there's connectivity to the internet. Why would a malicious actor want to do that? Anyone know? Why would you want internet connection? Yeah, to see what they can get access to. So they may be able to download extra tools to attack your network, or they may want to exfiltrate, so take the data from your network and put it somewhere on the public internet. So that's one reason there. So they've been able to do a ping and they've got a response. The next one, for those people who don't know Linux, I'm not going to ask you what that is, but ls is saying list the directory. Tell me what files are in this directory. So it's like the dir command in Windows. So give me a directory listing, and the -A just displays it to show all, including the hidden files. Scroll down a bit further. And then they've exited. So they're essentially trying to see if they have internet connectivity. Then they're starting to fingerprint the operating system, and they realise there's really not many files in there to worth stealing, so I'm leaving. So there wasn't much there. Going back to the lab guide, it will step you through a similar process to that. But I actually get you to do a little bit more. You go to the lab guide. Yep. Thank you. So in the lab guide, it gets you to open it up, talks about the packets and the display filters if there's any. Scroll down. It then gets you to change your view and add a column to the Wireshark. And then we add a display filter looking for a particular source. And we can see that we only focus on 16 packets quick way of getting details about the packet, especially if you're looking at hundreds and thousands of packets. So I can quickly go, give me a protocol hierarchy and see which protocols are in this packet capture. So pulling out telnet if there's lots of other traffic. So in statistics, and then you can go conversations. It's on your main window. I haven't figured out how to stop that. So here we can see that there's really only two machines communicating. We've got the MAC addresses, so that's the Ethernet layer. We've got IPv4. And then we've got IPv6, which there shouldn't be any, and TCP/IP, and whether there's UDP, depending on what you capture. But you may see lots of different conversations from that. Going back to the lab guide. This is the follow TCP stream, and then from there we can break it down into the different conversations. So we looked at both conversations at the same time, and then we can apply different filters on that. Any questions for the first lab? Now, obviously we are a little behind time, so we'll do the first couple of labs following the guide, and I'll talk them through as well. Once we've done that, we'll finish around 5 o'clock. But if you need a hand, raise your hand. I'll come and talk to you. Get it going. But at least do the first packet capture. Have a look at TLNOG, see if you can find out who logged in and drill down on that information. Try to change your columns. Try to look at adding a display filter, and then answering the question of who logged in, what was the password, what was the username, and what were the commands. Any questions? Can you set a timer for 7 minutes? 7 minutes. So I'll give you 7 minutes to play around for that first lab. No, you go to Google and just say 7-minute timer. Yep. Just in the search, like 7-minute timer. And then play. And then if you go full screen if you want. Countdown. See how you go. Open up telnet.pk. Reading the lab guide. Everyone know where the lab guide is?
¿Preguntas? Yes, where we found one fake here.
Is there anybody who still doesn't know to run a Wireshark? Still any problem? Oh, ini jadi maksudnya kalau training yang ini itu melihat paket yang sudah disimpan gitu. Jadi contohnya kalau di misalnya saya provider menunjukkan bukti ini loh, ada buktinya nih activity network, contohnya dikirim kayak gini file ticket. Jadi Pak replay file. Kalau yang tadi Bapak capture itu file yang terjadi network yang sekarang di workstation ini. Iya, untuk case bahwa oh ini ada satu paket, trace paket yang Bapak bisa lihat, oh display lagi. Ini contohnya kan semua orang bisa lihat. Karena dia di copy file. Jadi kalau kayak orang-orang troubleshoot network ada masalah, ditanya, ini masalahnya gimana? Aduh nggak ngerti lah, kamu pick up aja apa di Wireshark aja lu, saya minta pick up. Jadi dia nyalain Wireshark, dia jalan networknya seperti apa, kasusnya gitu. Kan tercapture. Udah selesai, save file capture-nya jadi file pick up, kasihkan ke orangnya nih. Coba lihat. Use case-nya tuh gitu.
We well and truly went over that time for that lab, but it's important. This is our first lab for the workshop.
Jadi ini karena dia tidak terenkripsi. Kalau Bapak pakai SSH atau pakai TLS nggak kelihatan. Ini karena dia tidak terenkripsi.
Not knowing where the packet capture files were, because I did the demo of how to start a capture and then I stopped it and then automatically moved on. So you need to make sure on the events page that you have downloaded the resources. And from the resources is where you've got your packet capture. So the telnet.pcat file, the ftp.pcat file. In the lab guide itself.
Nah kalau sekarang coba aja Bapak nanti file Bapak ini close, Bapak download yang buka yang open yang itu FTP. Hah? Yang tadi yang sebelumnya tadi kan sudah filenya udah ada. Yang tadi sebelumnya Bapak download zipnya ini. Nah nanti buka aja lagi FTP misalnya. Nah nanti Bapak lihat aja nanti di
Ideally, it will work for you. Some of the display filters, Wireshark in its wisdom has changed the filter language a couple of times. So there may
Bapak jawab pertanyaannya ini Bapak dengan lihat tadi.
I also in this lab start talking about how to capture, but I think we're not going to have time to do that, especially for a 2-day. It works well for 5 days. I can go into a lot of detail about identifying what is baseline traffic on your network, being able to identify it and understand it.
Okay, I guess maybe people get mixed up between you capture the packet right now in your laptop and compared to the task of opening the file capture, because that's two different job. Because when you start the capture with the button blue on your Wireshark, it means that you are capturing the file right now that come into your computer. But if you doing the exercise, it's actually asks you to open the existing file capture before and try to replay it on your Wireshark. So you are acting like some investigator. You want to find out what happened with this packet, what is information there are on this packet you want to identify. So that's the lab practice wants to do.
Yeah, so where I've used this in the past is some of my younger engineers, they say, oh, there's something strange happening on the network. And then you go, what do you mean by strange? And they can't define it. So you say, okay, do a packet capture and share it with me.
Yes, that's right.
And then I ask the junior to say, show me which packet you're referring to. So based on that, I can then start creating a timeline of events from that. So being able to there was this login to the telnet server, they use the credentials fake. So that is suspicious.
Yes, that's right.
So being able to block that or figure out what the source IP.
Okay, this is also correct. In my example, in my workplace in the telecom provider, they usually when something strange with the network, some instruction, maybe some DNS packet doesn't arrive to other destination. When they have very complex network configuration, the sysadmin just ask me, okay, just give me the network admin just asked me, just give me the file capture of that event, of that when it's happening. So you want to recreate the event, but before that you need to activate the capture the packet in the network. After that, you stop the capture, save the file pcap engine, and give that file to engineer, and they will try to see, okay, we have the same thing to see, and maybe he will find out, okay, there's something wrong with this, I need to configure it. So I guess what thing we can start after this one?
I can demo the next one, which is the FTP lab, if you like.
Okay, you want me to?
So we have about 10 minutes left today. So we're going to just demo the FTP component. So hopefully everyone's been able to download the zip file with the packet captures and been able to open up the lab guide. To demonstrate that to you, I'm just going to change my window. I was going to show a showdown report. So this is where we're at here. This is the resource file that you need to download. So I'm just downloading this file. And yes, so now that I've downloaded the file, I have this zip file that I've extracted. I can double click on the telnet. That's going to open up in Wireshark. And so this is where everyone should have gotten to and displayed this. So I'm now going to open up my FTP, because that's going to be the next one. That's this FTP PCAP. Now in FTP, it's a file transfer protocol. Most people have some sort of authentication happening, and as the attack occurs, it's going to have a username and password to try and get into that server. And so there are tools out there that allow you to do what's called brute force attacks. A brute force attack is using a password with a username combination. So there's different ones. So you could have a list of what you assume as usernames, and then a list of passwords. Might be the top 100, top 1,000 passwords. If we think about FTP, the default user accounts that you might think of, name a default user account. Say for Windows, what would you have? At the top of your head, what would you use for a default account on a Windows machine? A Microsoft machine. Anyone heard of administrator? Yeah? What about Linux? What would be a user account that is on a Linux system? Root. So if you go to your friendly neighbourhood search engine and you do a search for what is the default username for this software, it might be VFTP. It's going to then give you a listing of what is the most common credentials for that account. True? Have anyone done any search for that when you've gotten a new printer or something? What is the default username and password? IoT do it all the time. So in this example here, this has 19,730 packets. Can everyone see that? It's a lot bigger than the Telnet one. We can't manually go through each and every packet to see what's happening there. If we have a look though, you can see in the top 16 or 20 packets that we have here that you've got your three-way handshake at the top. So you've got your ACK, SYNACK, ACK, and then we've got a response, 530, login incorrect. Then we're doing it again, three-way handshake, SYNACK, ACK, ACK, SYNACK, and then this. We've got another password required for admin, password's Merlin. And we've got another response, login incorrect, and so on. And we've got 19,000 packets going through this process. We've got response, 530, login incorrect. So what do you think, just based on your visual check on those first 30 or so packets, what do you think is happening? Might be a pair of socks in it. Person who answers. Anyone suspicious about these packets? What could be happening? So if we go back to the lab guide, so this is the Wireshark one. It will talk you through what the process is going to be. So we've looked at the very basic Telnet one. Now we're going into the FTP example. Sort of jumped on this ICMP. So we're looking at page 13. So what we're going to do is have a look at the conversations and the endpoints that are there. Once we've got the endpoints, we can see what's happening with that. So let's go back to our Wireshark, go up to our statistics and go to endpoints, and we can see that we've got 2 MAC addresses in our 19,000 packets. We've got our 2 IP addresses, but under TCP IP, we can see that our port numbers are changing. So we can see that the system is communicating and sending lots of packets to this one system. this type of attack is common in regards to that it's trying to hide its communication to the end device. See that here, that it's looking at the different packets there. So what we're going to do is start looking at applying some filters. The first one is the login incorrect, response code 530. So let's see how many packets or how many login attempts have been incorrect in this packet. So this is looking at some sort of detection mechanism, understanding what you want to do. So we want to do ftp.response.code -- equal. Closing this down, going to my... And as I start typing in, it auto-completes or shows you a list of expected commands. And we want to do the ftp response.code, and if I've typed it incorrectly, notice the display filter bar goes green. So that's a visual indicator that you've gotten the correct syntax. I do equals 530, and it's gone green again. But if I change that, it's going to show it in red, which means that you haven't completed the command or display filter, or it's incorrect. So now I've done pressed enter on that display filter, and it will show how many packets I've got. We can see here that it's displaying 1,400 packets that had that response of login incorrect. So I've now drilled down from the 20,000 packets down to 1,400 packets. Any ideas what could be happening here? So following the guide, it will actually help you answer these questions. What were the usernames? How many passwords were used? What, oh, that's a typo here. So what type of an attack is this? So that's what you need to try and figure out. Now watch this space. It is 5 o'clock at the moment. We can go for longer if you would like. Finish off this, or we can let you have a play of it tonight in your own time, and tomorrow we can answer questions or I can display it tomorrow. Which would you prefer? Another 10 minutes or break? 10 minutes? Excitement. We're going to catch them. So if we have a look at this picture here where I asked you to look at the endpoints, we can see the address space that's being used. So we've got the 10.234.125.254, and then we've got 10.122.70.151. And if you have a look, that 151 is listening on port 21, isn't it? So which of those IP addresses is the FTP server, and which is the client trying to connect to the FTP server? Which one do you think it is? Is it address A or address B? So this is part of the investigation process. You need to determine which is the server and which is the machine that is suspicious and acting or doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So in this case, the server is the port 21 machine, isn't it? So that's address B. So we want to focus on address A to see what they're doing. What information are they sending to the server? So we're going to use the IP source of address A, and then we're going to look at what the FTP request is, what the fields are for that. Makes it easier for you to see what I'm typing. Yep, it's grouped, you see that. So we're going to do IP source, and you can see here that it's helping you with the auto completion, and we want to do it equals 10 dot 234 dot 125, as long as I haven't put 2 dot 254. It's gone green, so that's a good sign, and I can just enter it at this point, but I'm going to get the TCP handshakes and other packets that I may not want. So I'm going to drill down a bit further and say, let's have a look at the FTP request data. So this is something that's important when you're playing around with display filters. You need to ensure your packet count. See how I've got this displayed? It's gone up to 2800 now rather than 1400. So that's how I know, even though I've typed in the display filter, I hadn't quite applied it when I still saw my packets were 1400. So now what I can see is a whole heap of requests. The requests have pass and then a word, and then it's got user space admin. So it looks like it's one account called admin, but multiple different types of passwords being used against that account. Any ideas if this is suspicious? Is that suspicious? Yes. Why? Brute force. So someone's trying to get access to this FTP server with admin rights. The other thing that you may want to do now is that there's still quite a lot of packets there that you have to visually inspect, true? So you might want to drill down and see if there's anything other than admin being used in that account, true? So we're going to drill down on that command and look for the word, keyword, user and pass. The reason why I'm using that is see here, I can see the commonality between these top four. I've got request pass, Merlin, Mercury, X, but the word pass is in each of those packets. So that's what I'm going to drill in on. And then the other one is user. So going back up to my display filter, I'm going to FTP request full stop, and it's showing me I've got a completion for ARG or command. I want to use the command, and then I'm going to do an exact match using the double equal sign, and then I'm going to apply that. What do we need to check? Make sure that our display filter has been applied. It's gone from 2800 down to 1399. And we can see still quite a lot, but we can now easily use our down arrow to scroll through these, and by the looks of it, it's all going to be looking at the admin account. Now this is where I like T-Sharp, which is a command line interface of this, and that then allows you to just jump to a particular spot. I'm going to change my filter now and have a look at the password field. And I press enter. And the big advantage of this is I can potentially extract the listing of passwords that were used from that. So I can get a listing of common passwords, and I can potentially try those against my accounts and make sure that they're not using those, because they've obviously used some sort of password list or some sort of word list to do this attack. Any questions about that? So we've looked at a larger packet capture file that had 20,000 packets. We used the display filter to have a focus on a particular IP address, and then looking at the FTP request. We also looked at the conversations and the endpoints, and we saw that one of the endpoints was doing multiple connections to the one server on different port numbers, when it didn't really need to do that for establishment. And then we determined, based on that, that the packet capture itself was showing some bad actions from someone, trying to do a FTP brute force for the user account admin. Any questions about that? Now, it's going to take a lot of practice, work through this lab a few times, and there are lots of resources that are available that will help you. We're going to extend this tomorrow by looking at intrusion detection systems that help automate some of this process. It's now 11 minutes past, so we've gone that extra 10 minutes, so I do thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it, and it was informative. Very much a lot of theory on the first day, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll be a little bit more practical tomorrow. And with the internet, we do need to have better internet to get access to the academy layers. Otherwise, I'll have to fix that.
Yes, because I guess tomorrow with the exercise we'll be accessing the academy lab. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Any questions?
Well,
thank you for your time.
thank you. For tomorrow, the suggestion of which section that we need to skip. But I don't know. What do you think?
Dia sesaun ba ohin lorong niya honing tambah tempo mos agora toco lima liu. Yeah, interessante mas be tempo. Agora 5:13 tena. Nebe hansa ohin instrutor hate ten ita se continua ba faliaban. Ato fatene ba kolega sira katak terus abang ni ita label uso na itania farda may be tamba aban lo kare kita say fahe certificado antang ita uso na fatin itania faro ne ano de abang lo kare kita say sim certificado no by rights continua ho conferência nebe loron tolo paciência o sira ba fase Strikatia gansa para abang tau fali no bayruan yan. Agradece ba lorong ohinian orang ita ramata agora daw no ita bele fila ba uma descansa no ate aban. Obrigada Barak.